My name's Joel, I fight and I fix things. Sometimes I drink, and that's my choice. So, some basics of cane fighting. Any stick that's about that long. Could be a shillelagh, could be a cane, could be a walking stick. But I don't know, I don't care. Basically all the same thing to me. Now, bear in mind, a cane is essentially one gigantic handle. You can swing it with one hand, two hands, hit with the middle, you can do whatever you want. But we gotta start from somewhere. Today, just some basic strikes from what I would call a 1/3 grip. The way you get a 1/3 grip is very simple. If you have your cane here, you just pick it up. Basically, just hold it like a kayak paddle. Adjust your hands so that each tip of the cane can touch your elbow on one side. Then just let go with one hand and rest this either on your shoulder or just above it. You can take your thumb and rest it on the back depending on what kind of techniques you're using. It depends on what system you're doing. I'm not a huge fan of it personally, that's just me. But for some things it is super effective. My feet, I tend to just kind of stand normally. But if you prefer your right foot or your left foot forward, go for it. Hey, it's a fight, it's dynamic. Your other hand should be somewhere near your heart in case someone tries to stick you, hit you, grab you. If this is down here, it's not really doing me any good. I keep it over here where I can use it. 1/3 grip, over the shoulder, other hand up, feet. Feet. From this position, we're working a basic snap cut from a few different angles. Antrim, it's an Irish stick fighting system, uses this a lot, but it's not the only one. And this is a hybrid system that we do anyway, so I don't claim to be an expert. I'm basically just sort of a human garbage disposal or a food processor. Just sort of dump everything in me, grind it up, and then slurp out the slop that comes out of it. Edible? Yes. Tasty? They're basically all the same thing to me. You can use boxing footwork with this. You can use swordsmanship footwork. Whatever fits for you, okay? If it works, good. If it doesn't, throw it out. I don't really care. A first snap cut looks like this. It goes straight out here and back. All right? You can step forward with it to the side, mix the footwork up. Like I said, garbage disposal.
Slurp out the slop.
It goes forward and back. It comes back to guard. Forward and back to guard. With the other hand, looks like this. Forward and back. You can use it with the thumb. You can use it without the thumb. It just kind of depends on what it is you're trying to do. But the thumb does give it some more snaps. Bear in mind that in this particular situation, every time I throw one of these snap cuts, they're coming back to the guard. I snap and I bring it back. I snap and I bring it back. 1, 2, 3, 4, which is low, picture an elbow. 4, 5, 6, which is a straight thrust. It looks like this, but from this position, I usually throw it off of a cut. So let's say I do a 1 and then a 6. I go 1, 6, or 3, 6. Just depends on what you're trying to do. 7 and 8 are low. Picture a kneecap. 7 and 8. In the left hand, same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 6. 7 and 8. So, that's all 8 of those. Now for some application. If you're trying this on your own, I recommend using some kind of striking post or dummy. This is Charles. I made him out of bits of mattresses and yoga mats. Say hi, Charles. He doesn't speak English. It's okay. I can understand if you can't. Don't worry about it. Make sure that when you're practicing your strikes, you're using your feet. When I'm using my feet, they're not just there for me to throw my weight and admire my handiwork. That's not what my feet are for. The job of my feet is to get my strike where it needs to go and then get me to safety. I don't step forward and leave my face exposed. No. I don't just go forward backwards ad nauseum, because eventually they're going to figure that out. Human beings tend to notice patterns eventually. If you do nothing but fight forward, backward, forward, backward, forward, backward, people can pick up on that pattern and then bowl you over or circle around you if they're particularly intelligent, like I am. That's not true. So, when you're practicing your strikes and you're moving your feet, don't get hung up on which foot you have forward. Pay more attention to where your body is. Is my body within distance to be struck by the person I'm fighting? am I standing on the line of attack? On the line, off the line. Now, if I'm on the line of attack, but I'm too far for the thing to hit me, then it doesn't really matter. So my goal at all times is to be either offline and in range, which allows me to hit and stay safe, or in line but out of range, in which case I'm safe enough to not get hit. I can't hit them, but they can't hit me. That's neutral. Where I don't want to be is online and in range, because that means even if I'm hitting them, they are also hitting me, which with these or these is not good for me. I'm not a huge fan of that. Don't stand there and admire your work. Don't do it. We'll start from 1 and work our way to 8. Is it 8? 6? 8. Okay, so from my 1/3 grip, I'm out of range, but I'm on line. 1, offline, out of range. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Good. Switch hands. I know that's a scary concept for a lot of you. Your dominant hand is infinitely better at first than your non-dominant hand, which means you're going to have to be willing to suck for a little while. But if you're new to stick fighting, that means you already suck. You already suck at this for right now, and you should suck at this. That's the point of being a beginner. It's okay. I'm a man wearing a dress. You have no excuses. It's a beginner's mindset. Embrace the suck. Embrace the suck.
And slurp out the slop that
To avoid being struck, there's a very simple formula. Move away from their weapon and move their weapon away from you. It looks like this. If someone was swinging at this side of my face and I was using this posture, I move away from that weapon by taking my head, shoulder, hip, and foot and turning it off the line of attack. Additionally, I'm going to take my weapon and extend it just far enough in front of my body so that it impacts their weapon and moves it out of the way. We call that a deflection. By moving myself and my opponent's weapon, I not only make sure that I'm safe, I crack open a hole in their defense so that I can throw my own attack afterwards, or at the same exact time, depending on what it is that I'm doing. So if they're swinging this side of my head, if I turn and extend and deflect their weapon away, I've not only made myself safer, but I can now respond with an attack of my own. If they go to this side, I can block here and then respond. If they come low, I can fan it down and then strike. If they go to strike one of my elbows or my ribs, I can either cross my body and bring it low, like this, and circle out of the way, or because I'm using a 1/3 grip, I can actually block using the lower end of my stick. And as their stick rests there, I can respond with the top half. I can block here the same way and strike here. If they're swinging at my legs, there's a variety of things you could do. The easiest thing to do is simply to take your leg and take a step back and hit them in the head. You can also take your stick and swing it low and then respond, or slide it down and use a shin check. Not one of my favorites, but it is a thing that's done. Now, to practice your defense, I like to use a sandbag. This is filled with play sand. They use this for sandboxes. It's not hard gravel. Don't use hard gravel. Do not put gravel in this. Put sand in it. You want to make sure that it's in the bag, loose enough that you can lift it and move the sand around. If you can't move the sand around, this becomes concrete eventually and you're going to hurt yourself. I like to make sure the bag is heavy enough so that if the bag is in motion and I just stand here, it's enough to knock me over. It's keeping me honest because I don't want to stand in front of this thing and get hit with it. And even if I try to block it, if my structure is bad, it's going to blast through it, just like a real attack. So hanging a tennis ball from a string is okay, but you can deflect the tennis ball with your finger. I can't deflect this with my finger. I have to be doing this stuff right, okay? So with my sand loose in my bag, I push it out, I step off the line of attack and I deflect. I step off and I deflect. I step off and I deflect. I step off and I deflect. Sometimes you can use both hands, here, depending on the grip. Coming from the side, I step off and deflect. I step off and deflect. I'm not trying to stop the thing. That's going to crank on your wrist, you're going to feel it. This shouldn't hurt. You should be able just to deflect it enough. Just enough out of the way to keep your body safe. You can also practice your strikes by imagining if this is their weapon, their body is behind it. So after I deflect, strike, and move away. I deflect, strike, and strike again, and move away. I deflect, strike, deflect again, strike. You can practice hitting the bag as well.
for a slightly moving target. But I also practice jamming. I can hit and stuff into it because it's heavy. It gives me something to move. And then strike it and moving away. So wherever that bag is swinging, I turn my body towards it. I put my weapon in the way. And I deflect. And I move my body offline. I keep this other hand here in case I miss. I have to use my arm, or in case I want to block and pin. Block and pin for close quarters. Strike and push it. Block, pin, low strike. Jam. Here. Snap. Block, strike. Get the bag moving. Block, strike. Here. Block, strike. Practice your hand switches if you know how to do that. Slip. In. Block, strike. Block, strike. Block. You get the idea. Okay? It'll keep you honest, it's cheap, and it works really well. Give her a try. Don't forget that, as important as it is to learn techniques the way that they're taught, it's infinitely more important to make sure that they work for you, for your body, your personality, your environment, and these scenarios that you yourself are preparing for, even if that scenario is just sparring at a club or whatever. Mix it up. Be improvisational. Be able to adapt to instantaneous change. If you don't have that, you don't have fighting skill. Play. Spend more time playing with what you've learned, which means sparring, free flow training, shadow boxing, hitting a bag, and just play with it. Charles, wake the fuck up. We have work to do. Charles is great because Charles spins and he has arms. So I can practice hitting things and responding to an incoming attack and making sure that I'm out of range of it. I can practice blocking, trapping, hooking. I can practice my other combative material on this. Remember, it's a fight, so range can change. Line of attack can change. Styles become blended. You don't have to worry about only using one thing, and you're not going to worry about using only one thing when your life's in danger. And just find what works for you. Make it playful. Make it fun. If you're not enjoying yourself while you're training, you're probably not going to train as often. So give that a try. Have fun. Be safe.